Hello everyone. Today I'm going to make a bit of a different video. It is about some features of Windows settings, quality of life, and some advanced settings that you may not know about. Some of them, like the first part, is for standard browsing and usage of Windows. The last part is a bit more technical, but still it doesn't go into administration. So if you consider yourself an advanced user, please watch this video to make sure you know about most of these features that help quite a lot. I can tell you there's no shame in not knowing some of them. For example, I haven't used virtual desktops until of late, and it was a huge improvement to my productivity. And maybe you're the person who is just annoyed by Windows updates, or you have trouble finding the time zone of your friend from another country. All of these will be covered in 10 interesting features that you may want to know. And in the future, I'll make similar videos if this gains any interest. Let's get on with it. So let's start with the first knowledge that I want to share. There is kind of a meme or running joke about Windows updates, and I want to show you how once and for all avoid any problems and stop blaming your computer. You can just press the start key, type Windows Update, which will give you update settings, and here you have a couple of important options. One of them is pause updates for 7 days. If you click it, it will not bother you at all for 7 days. Also, you can click to change active hours, which will allow you to modify when you want the updates to run. So you can completely avoid running into any issues with updates installing themselves. These two settings are more than enough to stop blaming your computer. Okay. And the second option that a lot of people don't know is virtual desktops. Actually, in your Windows, there's not a single desktop. There are multiple desktops, and I'm not talking about screens. There is this button in the bottom left, which a lot of people don't pay attention to. If you click it, you can actually create multiple versions of your desktop. Let me show you. For example, on one desktop, I want to go and play some games. So I open the folder with games. Then I go here, create another desktop. And on this desktop, I will start working. So I'm going to make a PowerPoint presentation. So now I'm working. So whenever I want to play the game, I'm just clicking this button and switching to the first desktop with the folder with games. If I want to work, I'm clicking the same button and I go to the third desktop. And you can also use Windows key left and right with Control to switch between these desktops. So now I have 3 desktops, one with the game folder, one with my computer, one with my work. So it's also useful if you work on multiple projects or talk to different departments. You can make separate desktop for each department that you are going to work with. So Control and Windows key, left and right, easy as that. So it's even better than Alt Tab, because Alt Tab can make you kind of interlap windows, overlap windows, and mess it up. This way it's clearly separated what you are doing. So don't forget to use this feature. It's very handy, it's very useful. Now regarding the Windows key, it's kind of a very useful hotkey, which a lot of people don't use. So if you just hold it and press it, you get this start button, which is nice by itself. You don't have to press it. But you also have combinations with arrow keys. For example, let's say you want to maximize the window. Like I have a smaller window, I want to make it bigger. So I press Windows up and it's big. If I want to make it smaller, Windows down. If I want to get rid of it, Windows down again. And I also can organize it with Windows left, Windows right. You see it can go around the screen like this. So you can put it in different corners. What's even more useful than that is that you can switch some full screen applications between monitors if you press Windows Shift right and left. Like, let me give you an example. If I go and start this game, like my Doom, for example, so I launch my game, it starts, and I want to play it on the second monitor. So what I can do, I can just press Windows Shift Right, Windows Shift Left, and it switches between monitors. Some games don't even have a setting which screen to run on, and this way you can still switch them between screens. And don't be confused, it's just a mod for Duke Nukem, but it's Doom actually. Okay, so what's next? Next, I told you that if you are alt-tabbing and if you are opening multiple windows on the same desktop, you can clutter it completely. I hope it's no longer a problem if you use virtual desktops, but if it is, you can simply get rid of all extra things you don't need in the following manner. So let's say you have multiple windows open and you only need one and it's somewhere behind. So what you can do, you can take the window and shake it. This way it will remove everything that is not this window, and you can bring everything back if you just shake it again like this. You see, it's pretty simple. You select the window, you shake, everything else is gone. It feels like it was done for smart devices like tablets and phones, but you can do it with your mouse as well. Also, there is a hidden button in the bottom right. You see there is a calendar and some notification button, and on the bottom right there is a very small strip. If you click it, it will minimize all your windows. It's kind of hidden, but it's there. The same thing can be done if you press Windows key and M, minimize. It will remove everything. Okay, it's basically a button which you can hotkey better probably than click, because it's very hard to click on the small element of the screen. What else? Yeah, if you are working on a document, like let's say you're typing something, you type hello world, you may want to use emojis or smiley faces. I know I'm old school, I just use like dot and slash, but there's actually a huge selection of smiley faces in Windows. If you are that kind of person, you can press Windows key and dot, which is above your right alt key, and it will bring you emoji filters, quite a lot of things, so you don't need Skype or Teams or any other application to paste your emojis. You see, it works perfectly. So it's the button, which is a dot normally, this one. You combine it with Windows, you get emojis. It's not critical, but it's funny and maybe useful for your chat habits. Okay, let me go back to my monitor one, sorry, my desktop one, because I actually closed a lot of windows by switching the monitors. Okay, so those features I told you about are basically about easy use of Windows and some emojis in that. However, there's a huge feature inbuilt into your Windows machine which a lot of people do not use at all. Sometimes you may ask, what do I do if I want to record a video, or if I want to send some combination of actions to my colleague? People download or pirate or buy software such as OBS, Camtasia, Studio, and other recording software, which is useful if you want to actually edit your videos. But if you're only worrying about recording, there is a Windows game bar. You press Windows and G, Windows key and G, and this Windows widget menu allows you to configure and install different extensions. It also has some extensions by default, such as capture. So you can make a screenshot here, or you can start recording. For the recording, you need to have some kind of app open. For example, it could be your Chrome bar. And there's one more interesting button here, record last 30 seconds. So if you are playing a game and something cool happened, you can press this button and it will record the cached video, something that has happened already. So you're not going to miss a moment. So this is a very handy way to record your screen. It also has a few cool widgets. For example, let me switch it back on the screen. Okay, if you open this, you can select the widget menu and install different widgets from your Microsoft Store. For example, I installed this YouTube game bar overlay. So if I type, for example, my videos, let me find any of the videos by name. You can also copy paste a specific URL. Now, if I close this, but pin it first with this pin button, you can see I can watch videos during doing something else. And I can move it in the corner. And now I have like a small screen. It is especially useful if you only have one computer monitor. So you could work and watch some videos or some trainings, or you could follow some tutorials. For example, you could have a small video tutorial, and you could do the same on your screen. So it's pretty cool. Okay. So typically you can play around with it. Just press Windows G when you are focused on the window, and that should give you quite a few interesting options. Okay. It is also, if you are a streamer, it integrates, for example, with Gamecaster, so you can open your Gamecaster from here and start recording if you want to. Well, now let's talk about something that can be useful even if you don't record your videos, or you don't play computer games, or you don't plan to watch YouTube on a small window. Quite a lot of us like calendars, and we probably have quite a lot of them in our phones and other areas. There's actually Windows Calendar, which is very easy to use. I'm sure you know about calendar itself. You just need to click on the time and date, but I'm not sure if you have ever used this today or this planning feature. So if I want to go and change my tires on Saturday, I can click on this date and type change tires. I can say where, for example, I can click this location and say Autogara Militar, which is a repair service, and I'll schedule it for 10 AM. And if you save it this way, it will appear in your calendar now. So you see, if you click back, you can even click the event itself and it will open the whole calendar. But I am not very, let's say, happy opening the tool every time I want to schedule anything. I can do it directly from this menu, which is quite useful. And then it will pop up and make you a reminder. And if you synchronize your Windows with your phone, the calendar will appear there as well. If you are doing this kind of scheduling and you work from home, or you have colleagues or friends from other time zone areas, sometimes you may get stuck and you start Googling what time is it for them. So if you go to the alarm and clock in your start menu, there's actually a cool thing which lets you go and add locations. Let's say I want to check Sydney time. And now I can immediately see what time is it there. If I want to check, let's say, New York time, I know what time is it there. It is very easy with a few clicks to immediately understand what time is it in a specific area. So you just go to start, you type alarm and clock, and you switch to the clock menu. This is a very underrated menu. I cannot tell you how many times I had people missing appointments because they Googled time wrong. So this helps a lot. Okay, so now a short intermission. I'm going to say a few advanced things now, so if you don't know what they mean, don't play with them and blame me that I broke your computer, but if you're curious or you can test it on another computer or in the lab, it could be useful. So first, quite often we ask ourselves, how do we clean up the disk? My C drive is out of space. You should be always careful deleting data, because you can delete something critical from the system, unless you are deleting like a video or your documents. But there is an inbuilt feature in Windows which allows you to clean up some unneeded system files. So if you go to the start menu and go to settings, which is a huge actually menu, it has everything in the settings. And if I'm being a bit too fast, let me explain. So everything I do, I press start and I start typing settings. And this way I am searching for specific applications. I should have set it in advance. So in this menu, there is no system menu, which has a storage tab on the left. And in this menu, at first you can check how much space you're using for different things. It's like on your phone, it's done in a very user-friendly manner, but there is a specific field called temporary files, which is sometimes filled. So if you click this field, and your system is actually occupying quite a lot of space on your drive, you can wait for cleanup procedure to finish. It will scan everything, and then it will give you a button to remove files. So now I can delete and free 7 GB of space for something that I don't need. Please be careful with the last option, recycle bin. This is actually a recycle bin, so if you are deleting your files, they're not immediately removed. You may not even know about it if you are not an advanced user or if you haven't paid attention. But right now I have 200 kilobytes of data which will always stay on my disk even though I deleted it. So you can actually open Recycle Bin on your desktop to see what's inside, right? But it's not checked for cleanup by default because you may still want to restore these files. If you delete them from Recycle Bin, they're gone unless you use special tools or backup applications. But just keep in mind that if you don't delete Recycle Bin, the other files are not really that important. So you can remove and clean them up. You can also click on specific apps and features, and this way it will show you which applications take how much space and you can uninstall them. This is the same menu which is very similar to remove programs. But I'm mostly, let's say, curious about temporary files because they often take extra space that you don't need to use at the moment. Okay. One more, a bit of advanced setting. It is going to be useful for laptop users. You have a lot of background applications running on your computer. And if you use laptop and if you want to preserve battery, it may be useful to get rid of the applications that you don't use at the moment. Especially if you want to focus, let's say, on one Office document or watching a video. So the way you do it, you also go to the same system menu, settings menu first, then here you find privacy menu, in which you need to locate background apps. There is a lot of different settings, but I'm mostly curious about background apps now. And here you can disable all background apps with one click. It means that they're not going to run in the background, collect information. For example, my camera will not start on itself if it's doing something. My alarm and clock will not calculate my time zone. What's there else? My Netflix will not try to download anything, but this way you can preserve power and computing power of your computer. Or you can, let's say, disable specific apps if you don't want to run them, if you don't use them. So that's a setting which will definitely help for laptop users. Okay. And the last 2 points are purely technical. Here we go. Sometimes we need to reinstall Windows. Before, we would find a disk or USB stick or download it from internet just to clean up everything if your computer becomes too, let's say, unoptimized. Now in Windows 10 you have an option to reinstall Windows from the cloud. To access the Windows reset or reinstall feature, we would go to the settings menu again, use it all the time now, update and security, and here there is a recovery option. In this window there is a button reset this PC, so if you go through these menus it will let you completely reinstall your operating system with some extra settings to keep your personal files. I'm not going to do it now because obviously I don't need to clean up my computer and reinstall the Windows, but this is something you can use for the long term. Okay, and number 11, which is like a bonus, is a feature that you don't really need often, but it's pretty cool, and I find this a neat trick that I just like to tell my people, my mentees, my engineers about. So there is a specific folder name that Microsoft has created for their own amusement. Let me make a new folder first, right click folder, and I'm going to name it GodMode dot and a combination of numbers and letters which is called GUID format because it's a specific type of letters and numbers followed by dashes. And if I name the folder like this, which will probably take me another try because I didn't copy paste it properly. Let me try one more time. Here we go. Now this folder has lost its name and it looks like a dashboard. And if you open it, it's called GodMode, and you have a lot of system settings which you would normally access from a lot of areas. So this is kind of an alternative to the visual menu that Windows 10 uses. This way you can actually have like everything at once. For example, if I wanted to hide or show my extensions of the files, like if I want to see if it's TXT file, PPTX file, JPEG file, I would find folder settings, it's somewhere here, File Explorer options, show hide system file extensions, and it will automatically bring me to this menu. You don't need to do this often. This is more like a configuration step. But if you want to configure Windows in a specific way, at least once, if you are setting it up for your mother or for your friend or for yourself, or if you have just used the reset option I mentioned before, This way you can access a lot of features. There are also some periodic things you can do. You can make tasks in Windows. You can clear disk space, something that I mentioned is also available from user-friendly interface. But this is just a cool trick which lets you create this kind of aggregation of system desktop commands or system links in one folder. Well, if you are curious about any specific functionality of operating systems or any specific topics, please leave your comments. If you know some other neat tricks, share them with me. I will be happy to share this information with other viewers. And in case something doesn't make much sense to you, feel free to ask any questions you like. I will be more than happy to provide you with some of my expertise. This was a bit of a different video, not very technically oriented, more for user-friendly, but hopefully it's going to help you. For example, until recently, I haven't used this multiple desktop feature, which helps me a lot now because I have different projects. So I just switched them between desktops and I forgot what is a clustered desktop since then. Also, maybe this Windows key M will be a new way for you to close up your applications when the boss is coming and you're playing solitaire or something. I don't know. It might be easier than Alt-Tab, because when you Alt-Tab, you can Alt-Tab to the wrong thing, and Windows M just shows you a clear desktop. Obviously, it's not the point of the video, but you can find quite useful implementations of these hotkeys and features. Otherwise, I wish you a great day. I'm going back to do some of my important work, and if you need help with yours, let me know.